children were having breakfast. This was not a pleasant sight. Mrs. Large took a tray from the cupboard. She set it with a teapot, a milk jug, her favorite cup and saucer, a plate of marmalade toast, and a leftover cake from yesterday. She stuffed the morning paper into her pocket and sneaked off towards the door. "Where are you going with that tray, Mom?" asked Laura. "To the bathroom," said Mrs. Large. "Why?" asked the other two children. "Because I want 5 minutes peace from you lot, that's why," said Mrs. Large. "Can we come?" asked Lester as they trailed up the stairs behind her. "No," said Mrs. Large, "you can't." "What shall we do then?" asked Laura. "You can play downstairs," said Mrs. Large, "by yourselves, and keep an eye on the baby." "I'm not a baby," muttered the little one. Mrs. Large ran a deep, hot bath. She emptied half a bottle of bath foam into the water, plonked on her bath hat, and got in. She poured herself a cup of tea and lay back with her eyes closed. It was heaven. "Can I play you my tune?" asked Lester. Mrs. Large opened one eye. "Must you?" she asked. "I've been practicing. You told me to. Can I please, just for 1 minute?" "Go on then," said Mrs. Large. So Lester played "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star" 3.5 times. In came Laura. "Can I read you a page from my reading book?" she asked. "No, Laura. Go on, all of you, off downstairs." "You let Lester play his tune," said Laura. "I heard. You like him better than me. It's not fair." "Oh, don't be silly, Laura," said Mrs. Large. "Go on then, just 1 page." So Laura read. She read 4.5 pages of Little Red Riding Hood. In came the little one with a trunk full of toys. "For you," he beamed, flinging them all into the bath water. "Thank you, dear," said Mrs. Large weakly. "Can I see the cartoons in the paper?" asked Laura. "Can I have your cake?" asked Lester. "Can I get in with you?" asked the little one. Mrs. Large groaned. In the end, they all got in. The little one was in such a hurry that he forgot to take off his pajamas. Mrs. Large got out. She dried herself, put on her dressing gown, and headed for the door. "Where are you going now, Mom?" asked Laura. "To the kitchen," said Mrs. Large. "Why?" asked Lester. "Because I want 5 minutes peace from you lot," said Mrs. Large. "That's why." And off she went downstairs, where she had 3 minutes and 45 seconds of peace before they all came to join her. The end. Thelma the Unicorn. Thelma felt a little sad. In fact, she felt forlorn. You see, she wished with all her heart to be a unicorn. Her best friend's name was Otis. He liked her quite a lot. He said, "You're perfect as you are." But Thelma said, "I'm not." And that was when she saw it, a carrot on the ground. It gave her such a great idea, she squealed and jumped around. She took that simple carrot and she tied it to her nose. "I'll say that I'm a unicorn. It might just work. Who knows? Well, as she did, a truck drove by. The driver rubbed his eyes. "Good grief, is that a unicorn?" he shrieked in great surprise. As Thelma watched the swerving truck, it very nearly hit her. Would you believe that truck was filled with nice pink paint and glitter? Oh, Thelma looked amazing. She was a unicorn. "I'm special now," she cried out loud. And so a star was born. All across the whole wide world, her fans would cheer her name. Thelma loved it every bit. The fame, the fame, the fame. Thelma was a superstar. Her dreams had all come true. But soon she found that so much fame was kind of tricky too. You see, her fans were mad for her. They'd scream and cry and laugh. They'd chase her everywhere she went to get her autograph. In fact, they'd chase her all day long. It never, ever stopped. They chased her while she exercised. They chased her while she shopped. "Please don't chase me anymore," she asked the screaming crowd. "We'll chase you all we want," they said. "We're fans, so it's allowed." And some were not her fans at all. No, some were really mean. And some just did the meanest thing she'd really ever seen. That says unicorns are dumb, and that says I agree. So one dark night she felt quite sad, this famous little pony. She said, "I thought that I'd feel great, but all I feel is lonely." And so with that, she changed her mind, this lonely unicorn. She cleaned off all her sparkles, and she ditched her magic horn. And then she walked right past the crowd. They didn't even notice. She thought how nice that it would be to see her lovely Otis. And when he asked about her trip beneath their favorite tree, she simply said, "Oh, it was fun. But I'd rather just be me." What a great story, guys. Franklin Phibbs. Franklin could slide down a riverbank all by himself. He could count forwards and backwards. He could zip zippers and button buttons. He could even tie shoelaces. But Franklin could not swallow 76 flies in the blink of an eye. And that was a problem, because Franklin said he could. He told all his friends he could. Franklin had fibbed. It started with Bear. Bear boasted, "I can climb the highest tree." He scrambled to the tip of a pine. Then Hawk bragged, "I can fly over the berry patch without flapping my wings." He soared over the woods and past the berry patch without ruffling a feather. Beaver crowed, "I can chop down a tree with just my teeth." Beaver gnawed first on one side, then on the other. Chips of wood flew this way and that. The tree crashed down. And she said, "I can make my own dam." Franklin couldn't climb a tree. He couldn't chop down a tree. He couldn't fly. And he forgot everything he could do. So he fibbed. "I can swallow 76 flies in the blink of an eye," he said. His friends were astounded. "Watch me," said Franklin. Franklin gobbled 2, 4, 6 flies. There! But that was only 6 flies, said Hawk. There were only 6 flies flying, said Franklin, and I ate them all in the blink of an eye. I could have eaten 70 more. Let's see, said Beaver. Franklin frowned. There was no way he could eat 76 flies in the blink of an eye. No way at all. Franklin had no appetite at dinner. What's wrong? Asked his mother. I can't eat 76 flies in the blink of an eye. Neither can I, said Franklin's father. Neither can I, said Franklin's mother. But you don't have to, said Franklin sadly. And I do. Franklin told them all about the flies. His mother nodded, and his father hummed. You have quite an imagination, said Franklin's father. The next morning, Franklin's friends were waiting. Beaver had a surprise. Eat them, she dared. Franklin wrapped a woolly winter scarf twice around his neck. Can't, he squawked. I have a sore throat. His friends laughed. Franklin felt terrible. He couldn't eat, he couldn't sleep, he couldn't think of anything but flies and lies. I could practice until I could swallow 76 flies in the blink of an eye, Franklin told his father. You could, but it would take a long time, he said. I could stop playing with my friends, Franklin told his mother. You could, but you might be lonely, she said. I could tell them I fibbed, said Franklin. You could do that, said Franklin's parents, and then you can show them what you can do. The next day, Franklin's friends were waiting. I can't eat 76 flies in the blink of an eye, admitted Franklin. We guess, said Bear. But, said Franklin, I can eat 76 flies. Franklin's friends sighed. Really, said Franklin. Franklin ran home. He got the flies, a bowl, some flour, milk, eggs, and honey. He poured and he stirred. He rolled and he baked. Finally, he was ready. Watch me. Franklin gobbled the entire fly pie. There, said Franklin, licking his lips. Amazing! What else can you do? Asked Beaver. Franklin swaggered with success. He was about to say that he could eat 2 fly pies in a gulp. Then he thought twice and said nothing at all. Even a turtle gets tired of eating fly pie. How full is your bucket? Felix was putting one of the last blocks on his tower when his little sister came in. I want to build with you, she said. Felix scowled. Go away, you're too little. I'm big. Stay back, you'll knock it over. I can be very careful. Go play with your baby toys, Anna. Thwack. Anna knocked his tower down. Grandpa! Grandpa shook his head. Felix, you just dipped from your sister's bucket. Like everyone else, Anna has an invisible bucket. When it's empty, she feels bad. But when it's full, she feels great. Didn't you ever notice your own bucket? But the next morning when Felix woke up, there it was, a small gray bucket floating above his head. When Felix came down to have breakfast, his mom was in a hurry. "I've got a meeting this morning and it's almost time to go. Anna, sit still." Felix slipped and cocoa wheat scattered across the floor. "Felix," yelled his mom, you should have used a stool to reach that." Felix could feel his bucket tip, and big invisible drips spilled out. Drip, drip. "Ha!" Anna laughed as she crunched the cereal with her shoes. Drip. "Get the broom and clean that up before you miss the bus," scolded Mom. With the school bus honking, Felix quickly swept up the cocoa wheats and grabbed the last blueberry muffin. But before he could even take one bite, Buster jumped up and grabbed the muffin from his hand. Drip. "Hey, look at Felix's new backpack. My baby brother has one just like it." Drip. "Psst, Felix, psst. Watch out, shrimp." Drip. It was still morning and Felix's bucket felt almost empty. As he watched his classmates walk into the room, he secretly hoped they would trip and fall. That's what it feels like when you have an empty bucket. Felix slumped into his seat and waited for something else bad to happen. Mrs. Bumblenickel walked slowly up to his desk and handed him a paper. He could hardly bear to look. "Felix, you wrote a wonderful story. Would you please share it with the class?" Felix grinned, and he felt a big drop land right in his bucket. "The Gigantanosaurus Who Wanted a Pet by me, Felix." Drop, plop, drop, plink. The class grew quiet. They laughed at all the right places and oohed at the scary parts. When Felix finally read the end, everyone clapped. Even Emily, who sat next to him and didn't usually like dinosaurs. Felix felt a whole shower of drops land in his bucket. Maybe the day wouldn't be so bad after all. Drop. Team captains today are Veronica and Felix. Drop. Nice cow. It's a dog. Well, nice colors there, Felix. Cool laser ant backpack, Felix. By afternoon, Felix's bucket was nearly full. At recess, when he looked around, Felix suddenly realized that his grandpa was right. Everyone else had a bucket too. "Let me help you." Drop, drop. "Here's your baseball catch." Drop, drop. "Thanks, dude." "Hi, I'm Felix. First day?" "Yes, I'm Amir." Drop, drop. The strange thing was that every drop he helped put in someone else's bucket, he felt another drop in his own bucket. When Felix burst in the door after school, he shouted, "You're right, Grandpa. I do have a bucket, and I understand how it works." Then he saw Anna's torn doll. "Bad dog," he almost scolded. But then he thought, dogs might have invisible buckets too. "Your doll will be okay, Anna," said Felix. "Mom will fix it." "Until then, do you want to help me build the tallest building in the world with my blocks?" And so they did. Such a nice story.